I know everything's wrong. Where do I start? The algorithms are serving up nonsense and folks that are talking from without degrees, without evidence. Some of them are grifters. Women who are suffering,
Mhm.
they'll be happy to buy your supplements. They'll be happy to just do whatever you ask them to because they're desperate. My garden club sent me, and I'm the first one. So if this goes well, I'm telling my garden club, how come like I get answers from you so fast? I was like, direct primary care.
Welcome to DPC Life, the podcast where independent doctors share real stories, bold ideas, and the freedom of doing medicine on your own terms. I'm your host, Dr. Ann Gonzalez, and together we'll explore the wins, the struggles, and everything in between. Let's dive in. Hi, and welcome back to DPC Life, the podcast where we talk about all things DPC and beyond. Last week, Dr. Nadia Sirdar told us how a hospitalist, someone everyone said couldn't do this, built a thriving DPC practice in Bethesda. And today we get into the part that actually built it. Because you can be an exceptional physician and still have an empty panel if nobody knows that you exist. Dr. Sirdar figured that out early. And what she did about it is worth paying attention to. We're talking about the farmers market, garden clubs, book clubs, Mahjong clubs, and how one core talk about menopause care eventually landed her at the Maryland General Assembly, helping to pass legislation. She also gets into physician visibility as a professional obligation. Nowadays, patients are getting health information from people who have no business giving it. Showing up as a trusted, evidence-based voice is not optional anymore. It is part of the job. This is part 2. If you missed last week, go back and listen first, and then let's get into it. I wanted to ask you also about the menopause care that you're doing, and I've seen you doing a lot of talks, and I
Yeah,
think a lot of our listeners are interested in doing things like that. So,
absolutely.
how did you go about getting those talks lined up?
Sure. So my big sort of focus has been incorporating or standardizing the primary. My big push is to try to create a system or where menopause care and perimenopause care is the standard of care. And so first to acknowledge that most people are still in the employed model. So the insurance-based model requires 15 minutes max with your primary care doctor. So what can I do to empower the patient and the doctor to create a conversation and give them the tools to be able to cover their needs for primary care with relating as it relates to hormones. So a
Mhm.
lot of my talks have been, here's what you need to ask your primary care doctor in your 15-minute visit or less. The other talks have been with other physicians to say, listen, you can do this. And this is where you
Mhm.
start, and this is where you have your resources, and this is how I did it. And so that has been really gratifying because I'm hearing from both sides where they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, I did it, worked. Because a lot of patients will ask me, like, I was on the panel for that M2 screening, that the movie.
Mhm.
And the question I got that was so, I felt like it was profound in the sense that I was like, this is what everyone's thinking is, where do I start? Right? Because they're like, I know everything's wrong. Where do I start? And so that was actually really helpful for me to sort of figure out how to do those talks. And so you asked me, how did I go about giving the talk? So I essentially have been really kind of methodical about reaching out to all of the allied health professionals that are in the menopause world. So pelvic PT, nutrition, psychology, psychiatry, endocrine, like obesity medicine, like anybody who's kind of even peripherally interested in that space. And then I go to them and say, this is what I would like to do. And I know this is part of your patient population. How can we collaborate and create something that's useful to both your patients and my patients? And so that's actually been really helpful. So I'm going to be giving a webinar with a health coach. It's called Shape of Strength, and she's amazing and has a wonderful like following locally. She's a trainer, but she also helps to like coach people. And her cohort is women in midlife. So it's like a perfect combination.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about metabolism as it relates to GLP-1s and HRT, And so that webinar is next week, but I think that's going to help me decide how helpful it is. And I want to get feedback from the people who attend. Like, did that give you hands-on type of next steps? Can we do better? And so every time I do one of those talks, I always try to get information from both the co-presenters, but also the people in the audience. And then the other thing that's been really cool has been just from like a funnel perspective. You don't think about it, but everyone who's joining me right now has been like, oh, I saw you 3 times before. And I'm like, you did? Where? And they're like, oh, I saw you at the farmer's market. When? October. Oh, and then I saw you at the M2 thing a month ago. Oh, and then I saw you at so and so's house when you did that Fireside. So I'm like, you saw me 3 times. You never said hi. Like, I don't know who you are. But they're watching and they're learning and they're just kind of like internalizing. And then they come to a place where they're like, I want to be part of this. And so that actually has been so helpful to temper my expectations for how fast things go, because they don't go fast.
Yes.
It's slow and
Absolutely.
steady. Right? So when you're starting, that's a big one, to not get impatient. And the second thing has been the trust factor. So putting information out there, educating and empowering in and of itself has value. And so whether those patients join your practice or not, it's so important because you're creating a space in your local community where people are going to ask for better medicine and physicians are going to be able to give better medicine, right? Regardless of what system they're in. They can be in the DPC world, which is like my happy world, but you could also be in the employed insured model and still do well in that model if you have the tools.
Right, right. And there is so much benefit beyond just like that person who does see you. They will take that information, and if they know somebody else who needs your kind of services, they can share that. So it's a whole kind of spider web effect.
The spider web. Like, some of my patients are so cute. They're like, by the way, my garden club sent me and I'm the first one. So if this goes well, I'm telling my garden club.
I love it.
I was like, I hope it goes well.
That's a good idea. Garden clubs, book clubs.
The book clubs. There's the Mahjong groups. Those are big.
Oh, yeah, the Mahjong groups.
Mahjong groups. I haven't learned it yet. I'm desperate to learn, but I can't figure out when I'm going to have the time. One day I will. I asked one of the older doctors and she's like, you have 3 small kids. Like, you give yourself 10 years. Like, okay.
It's okay. It's not going anywhere. That game's
It's not going anywhere. But it's funny, right? Like, there's so many little tiny spaces that bar 3, like in my community, it's really, really popular. And one of the owners, same story. She saw me with her mother at the M2 screening. Didn't say hi, just like was happy to be there. Saw me in a networking group for women business owners locally, and didn't get to say hi because the room was huge and didn't make it across the room. And then the third, I can't remember. But after signing up as my patient, she's like, and by the way, all my clients are in your like sphere. Could you come and do a talk? Can we do a collaboration? What would that look like? And so that's kind of cool too, because it's like even the patients themselves are saying, wait, I think there's a space for you in my world, right?
That's amazing.
And they're inviting me kind of like de novo, which is awesome because it feels very organic and like not like gimmicky and markety. It's like very like real.
Well, it's really, I think one of the reasons you have 50 patients already is because you are putting forth the effort and putting yourself out there constantly.
All the time. It's exhausting, but it's so gratifying. Like, I'm going to tell you, I go at breakneck speed and I have to just hit the pause button sometimes. I'm not good at hitting the pause button. It's the people who love me. Like my husband, my mom, my sister will be like, okay, Nadia, like you've done 6 things in a row. Can you take a day off? And I'm like, no, I can't do it. But I don't have 50 yet.
6 days in a row is a lot of
That's
events and networking. It really is.
I know. I did slow down the last month or 2 where I've been a little bit more methodical. Like, I was going to every single event at the Chamber of Commerce. And then I found that the chamber was like, not on purpose, but kind of giving me a little bit of pushback where they just like, there are a lot of like, I don't know if this is going to be politically correct. I don't know how I'm going to say this. There's a lot of traditional businessmen in the Chamber of Commerce world. And they're not super excited about menopause or perimenopause. It's not that they're not excited about it, but they're kind of like, look at me cross-eyed, like, why do I have to talk about this? And so I'm like, well, your wife is going through this and your
employees
mom and your employees. So I'm trying like slowly but surely to make some headway there. But the point is I made some really wonderful connections there. I have like this trainer that's been in the community for like 30 years, and her clients have been with her. Like it's like family, right? So when she sends me people, it's like an automatic connection. And then there's another trainer who has a large gym, and she's doing a really cool like nonprofit type thing in the community to get everyone to move. So I said, let me contribute to your event. It's a nonprofit, and I can do something with you just to support you because you're in the chamber with me. And then hopefully down the road, that'll like come full circle. So in that sense, it's been helpful. But then there's sometimes when I'm like, I'm hitting a wall 3, 4 times and I'm like, I'm going to stop asking for now. I'm just going to go somewhere else. I'll be back. I mean, I'm still part of the
Right, right.
chamber. I'm in that little microcosm, that health and wellness type sphere that is helpful. But you can only do so many meetings and not get outcomes. And then you have to just like be honest with yourself and be like, my time is worth quite a bit at this time. And I think I need to refocus my energies. So it's not that it's discouraging necessarily, but it's just like, okay, some of this stuff is going to work and some of it's not. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of, you mentioned the funnels and the ROI.
Yeah.
What have you found has been most beneficial to bring you patients?
So for me personally, I think the farmer's market has been the best fit for me. So I just thought, kind of out of the blue, I've always loved farmers markets. I grew up going to them. My grandmother was obsessed with like fresh fruits and veggies, and she would like, I had to spend so many hours at the counter like chopping them. It's just like, I'm not a cook, but I had to chop so many. And so there was always like, the farmers market was like a normal part of our life, right? And so growing up, that was normal. And I thought about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, who were the neighbors that used to go to the farmers market? And I'm like, okay, it was all the grandmas, it was all the aunties. And I was like, then it was all those healthy people, like those granola types that we just like put them in
Yeah.
that category. I remember all the like moms that did yoga would go. Like, I just remember what I thought when I was 12. And then I thought, okay, I wonder if there's a local farmers market here. So I looked it up, Bethesda Farmers Market. The owner is named Mitch. I cold called him, and he's like in his 80s, and he's just the best. He's a senior Olympian. He's so happy. He's so bright. He looks like he's 60. He gave me like a 45-minute spiel on how his mom taught him and his brothers all to cook from the beginning so they never ate out, and how he is like the walking, living example of like eating well your whole life. Okay. So 35 minutes, 45 minutes later. And then at the end of that conversation, I was like, so how do I sign up? And he's like, oh, I don't do any of that. And I'll put you in touch with my operations person. I'm like, okay, great. So I connect with the operations lady. And so once a month, they invite you to come. And what he told me was, Nadia, none of the sponsors that sign up, they want their logo on the website, they want their information on the whatever media, like newsletter they do. He said, none of them actually come. And I said, why? And he's like, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, I mean, this is like great for them to get their name out, but they're like established businesses and they don't really feel like the need to send somebody physically. And I was like, well, that's interesting because I really want to go. And he said, well, you're welcome to come. We encourage you. So it started off as like one of those little tables that you carry, the folding table
Mm-hmm.
that's 6 feet.
Yeah.
And then I went on Amazon and ordered like a thing that has my name and a QR code. And
Nice.
then I was like, what else can I do? Like, I always think, like, what can I offer? So I got like chapsticks with my name on it and like little squeezy balls that are like stress balls. But really, I didn't have that much to offer. And I was nervous. And the first time, second time, third time is a little bit nerve wracking. But at the same time, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. And I think the reason it was such an important funnel for me was they, everybody who came to speak to me about something extremely important to them, right? So those conversations were not like light and fluffy. They were very deep and intense. Like, this happened to me, or this happened to my mom. And I wish I'd had someone like you, or I wish I had the option to do A, B, or C. And so it's not only helpful because I can give them like, this is not medical advice that I'm giving. It's literally like, how do you navigate the system and how can direct primary care serve you better? And those conversations, I think, make a really big difference. It's a lot of your energy, and it's a lot of your mental energy, emotional energy, because you're there sincerely connecting with other people. And the analogy I give is it's like you went to a wedding or a reunion combined. So when I come home after 7 hours of that, I am done. Like I am crawling
7
into bed.
hours.
Well, because
Oh.
you get there by like 7, you have to be set up by 8, opens by 9. It opens at 9, people are already lined up. And the rush comes at 9. And then there's like waves and waves of people. And then you start packing up at 1. So maybe 6 hours. But by the time I'm coming home, I'm like going into bed with the blankets over my head. Like it's like bright outside. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
tired.
Yep. Yep. Your battery
Oh,
was drained.
my battery is drained. And like I do Sunday school. I like volunteer at Sunday school. And so I'm signed up for that. And sometimes I have to like go and set up there and then do the farmers market or back and forth. And I told one of the moms what I was doing, and she's like, "You're crazy. I'll do your shift at Sunday school." I'm like, "Oh, I can stop there
Why?
and set up the coffee, and then I'll go do the farmers market, and then I'll do this, and I'll come back." So it got to be a little bit too much. So meaning the funnel comes from there. I literally get maybe in the beginning, it was at least 5 or 6 discovery calls, and I was closing probably 30%. And then in the last month, when I look at the data, I'm probably getting a little bit less discovery calls, maybe because I've saturated that group. I don't know. But then I'm getting 2 or 3, but I'm closing almost all of them. So every single time I go, it's not exactly this Sunday is a farmer's market and this Sunday people sign up. It's like over and over, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now what's
Mm-hmm.
really cool is, and I didn't expect this part, my patients come. So my patients who may or may not be
Mm.
regulars at the farmer's market come to see me and say hi, like I'm some sort of local celebrity. And they're like, "This is my doctor."
You are.
I'm
That's
not.
great.
And they're like, "Can we take a picture together? Can we put it on socials? Can we tag you?" And I'm like, "What?
Yes, please.
Totally.
Yes,
Yes."
please put it on social
And I feel
media.
a little sheepish because I'm like, you're my patient. You want to protect your privacy. And they're like, "No, it's okay."
Take
and
it,
their and
right?
their dogs and their kids, and like my
Aw.
trainer always comes because she's like literally like my family. Like she was like crying when I gave my speech at my ribbon cutting, and my husband was like, "Did you see Vicky? Like, did you look at her?" And she was crying. She's your real person, like you're real. And so she always comes with her dogs and her partner. So this last Sunday she brought her other favorite person that she trains, and then that individual is very well established in this community, has her own family owned business, and just like organically connected and was like, "By the way, you've like solved so many problems for me." Because every time she asks Vicky, like, "Should I ask my doctor about this?" Then Vicky will ask me, and then I'll tell Vicky, and then Vicky will tell her. And she has her own concierge doctor. And I'm like, "This is crazy."
Oh.
But she's like, "I just want to know, like, how come like I get answers from you so fast?" I was like, "Direct primary care,
Mm-hmm.
direct."
Exactly. Yes.
But all
Yes,
to
it's
say that the
amazing.
funnel is really, I think the most high yield for me has been the farmer's market. I would say the second highest yield has been the smaller fireside chats. Like when I reach out to individuals in our community who've been happy to host. I've only done a few of those, but those were very high yield. And then I would say the third was like the larger speaking events, most
Mm-hmm.
likely.
Mm-hmm.
I think those have been the
And
largest.
just for anyone who didn't listen to the previous episode, the fireside chats are the perimenopause and menopause talks that you're
That's
doing,
exactly
correct?
that's exactly right. Yeah. And so when I do the question and answers with them, because I'll often do like a 10 to 15-minute spiel. I used to do slides. Now I don't even do slides. I just like chat. And then like when you're coming from academic medicine, you kind of feel like, here are my slides, like click, here's my data, here are my resources.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that. They're like, "You're the doctor, you tell us." And so it's more casual. And the first time I did it with another physician, she's a medicine dermatology, like double board certified, has a lot of patients in the community, has her own practice, was an amazing, like for me, like telling me, "You can do this, you can do this." So it's almost like I felt like she was kind of like my safety net, like my safety blanket, like
Mm-hmm.
right next to me. And she would answer questions, but then she'd be like, "Nadia, what do you think?" The second time I did it by myself, it was completely fine. I was nervous, but it was great. And then interestingly, I'm a little bit like hesitant to ask too much because I don't want to tire people out. But it's interesting because people will come up to me later and be like, "Hey, by the way, I heard you did it at so and so's house. Can I do one?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure. That would be
That's
so nice."
great.
Yeah. So,
How
I mean, that's
nice.
really, really nice. We have
Yeah.
a delegate who's running for office again, and she's a local delegate. She's amazing. She came to my ribbon cutting. She's a mom in our community, so like our walking buddy. And she was the one who was like, okay, so I want to do something, but I'm supposed to be running for something. So like, can I wait till after my election? Yeah, that'd be great. I don't want to double dip,
Yeah. Well, that's
but
amazing.
it's really
That's
cool.
great.
It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah. After we talked last time and you had told me about your fireside chats, I was like, oh, we should do that. So
Did
we
you
did
do it?
one in
Did it
December.
work?
Yes, it was at our office and it was so
Okay.
funny because it was cold. And our office is an old house, and so the living room is the waiting room, and so that's
Okay.
where we held it.
Totally.
So there's a
Yep.
fireplace.
I love
There's a
that.
fireplace. The
Okay.
Christmas tree was up.
Wow.
My partner was sitting on the chair with like a blanket over her.
I love that. That's
And we
so
actually
lovely.
we have a TV that's on the mantle, and it wasn't
Okay.
on, but one of the people who attended was like, "Oh, you should have grabbed one of those YouTube videos that's
To
got
have
the
the
fire."
fire, the little like
I
crackly. How did that
was
go
like,
for
"Yes."
you? How was
Oh, it
it?
was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
And do you
It
feel
was
like
a
you might do
very
that on like the regular now because it's like went so well?
Yes, we want to. It's just a matter
I
of like putting it on the calendar,
I know. I know.
scheduling
Yeah.
time, just doing it.
One thing
That's the
I'll
thing.
tell you that I learned is how to recycle the efforts. So, like, for example, I was asked to do a paid speaking engagement for one of these large psychology groups because they see women in perimenopause and menopause. So I gave that talk and it was more clinical. And then practice at Sibley Hospital. It's one of the Hopkins community hospitals. That's where I'm on staff. And they asked me to please come and do the keynote speech or talks keynote speaker for the foundation for the young professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I was like, wow, that's a really big talk to give. Like, how am I going to have the energy and time to dedicate? A lot of what I used for my talk previously that I put like so many man hours into, I can actually like not like exactly use all of it, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe like 50% of
It's
it
a
is actually
base.
it's a base. It's relevant.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you think that everything is going to take so many hours, but in fact, when you start to do this, you start to realize there's so much overlap that you can kind of like use similar material, but also use the same sort of strategies of how to explain things. For the foundation luncheon, I'm going to give them a special like take home little like handout that has like a kind of like a report card on their personal health,
Mm-hmm.
like their health profile and
Mm-hmm.
kind of what's your strategic like plan. And so I was thinking that would be really nice to do for these firesides. I didn't do that for the firesides. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
you learn from each event, like what's helpful, what's not helpful. Um, like one thing I learned the first fireside, I let everyone talk. And there was one individual who kind of took over a little bit. And I live in the DC area. Everyone here's a lawyer. Everyone's very well spoken. And they're a little aggressive sometimes. So this lady was like, really had good questions, but she really took over. And so the poor people that were next to her were like ran out of time, couldn't ask questions. So the way I changed that with very small nuance, but I asked everyone to put their question on a note card and fold it in half and put it in a big glass bowl. And I said, after I do my little spiel, I'm going to pull out of these bowls so that everyone has a chance, right? A small thing.
Fantastic idea. Very
It was
good
my mom's
idea.
idea. I can't take
Control.
credit. I was like, this one mom took over and nobody else could talk. And she was like, okay, I know how to fix that.
Yeah. Totally. Moms know. That's
Mom
great.
Stowe. She's awesome. I told you she did internal medicine for 35 years.
That's right. Yes.
She's
Yes.
she's awesome.
Yeah.
I asked her, I was like, can you be my backup sometimes? She's like, I'll think about it. She's like semi-retired, but she's still got
Can I go
support.
on vacation?
That's what I asked her. She's like, well, I want to go on vacation with you. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
But
So
no,
funny.
it's been really nice. So I
Hmm.
would highly encourage, even if it feels like a lot, just to start small. And then as you start to do that one tiny thing, you'll see that it overlaps. You can do the second and third thing. Even if
Yeah.
you just commit to like doing one thing a month, I would say that's like reasonable.
Yep. Yeah. Recycling is good. Yeah, small baby steps is good too.
I
But
think so.
definitely putting yourself out there. You just can't say it enough that it's not
Yeah.
going to happen. No matter how much you talk about yourself,
Yeah.
nobody knows you still. I mean,
Nobody knows
literally
you.
nobody knows.
And
Even if you think you're
how can you help them if they don't know you?
exactly,
That was
exactly.
really the
So,
biggest, I think that was the biggest sort of lesson I understood in the beginning was you are here to help, you are here to serve, and yet if your community doesn't even know you exist, how can you serve them?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
There's
You
just,
can't.
it's not magic. And
Mm-hmm.
the other part that's been really helpful for me to understand and kind of feel like responsible for is I think with the breakdown of public health and with the attack on our institutions, you know, without getting political, like the current state of affairs is abysmal. Who is everyone supposed to trust? Right. And then you go on the social media angle, and the algorithms are serving up nonsense and folks that are talking from without degrees, without evidence. Some of them are grifters. Some of them are taking advantage of like a population, right? Women who are suffering,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be happy to buy your supplements. They'll be happy to just do whatever you ask them to because they're desperate. So,
Right.
in that sense, it feels almost like a professional and ethical responsibility to put yourself out there as a voice of evidence and reason and keeping your community safe, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That part has
Yeah.
also been my mission. And I have to be careful because some people get annoyed. They're like, well, are you criticizing other people? Are you, that's their income source, like whatever. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to practice with the evidence. You have to use science and data. And
Yep.
and everyone deserves that,
Right. And you can't please everyone. And
right?
honestly, if you have people who are saying stuff like against you, like you've made it.
That's hilarious. If you have trolls, you win.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're
you
winning.
do. You're making a stand. You obviously are
Right.
putting yourself at, so it's fine. It's
I will
actually
say, I will say
good.
one thing, and that I think was an unintended consequence of this, putting yourself out there, is your opportunities for impact become multiplied 10x, 10x. So I used to
Yes.
listen to Dr. Una's podcast. Like she always says, like you can 10x your
Of course.
visibility and blah, blah, blah. And it's amazing. Like you listen to that and you're like, oh, I'm going to do it. And then you're like, wait, but how? How do I do it? So
Hmm.
interestingly enough, so I was invited to the All Star Medical Society. The same week, I was invited to be on the board for the Maryland Montgomery Society, or Maryland Medical Society, sorry. And they want me to co-chair the Women in Medicine. And with the
Fantastic.
email saying like, we know you've only been part of this for a year, but we've noticed like XYZ in terms of your advocacy and being present. And then I went and served as Doctor of the Day in Annapolis. And I didn't even
Oh,
know what that
cool.
meant. Like I was like, what's Doctor of the Day? Like that's kind of like cute and weird and like fun.
Hmm.
Let's go and see. And I went to Annapolis and they said, oh, a physician has been serving in the first aid room here since like, I don't know, 18 something. And the Maryland General Assembly is the oldest in the country, like pre, I think even pre when the United States was formed. And there's like a letter from George Washington when he resigned his post. There's just so much history there, right? And then you walk in and they announce you at the end of their session, and everyone stood up. All the legislators stood up and they clapped for me. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is nuts. Because I'm like, who am I? But they were
Hmm.
like saying thank you. And it was such an emotional moment because I thought it would be amazing if other physicians knew that this can happen. Like,
Hmm.
that you can show up, that you can serve, that people listen to you, they want to hear what you have to say, and that your impact matters. This is going to
Hmm.
help your community.
Absolutely.
So we just passed legislation that will have insurance cover. I think the goal is to have insurance cover menopause care. And I got to be a part of that. And that was amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So,
I think that you may have heard me say this. DPC is life expanding,
yes,
and all of those things are because you went into DPC.
correct. Yeah, it just opened this new book. And then there's so many chapters, right?
Right.
There's the social media part, which I was scared of. There's the going into the community and being naked. That's scary,
Hmm.
right?
Scary.
Very scary. There's the point of like showing up for, honestly, like I always vote and I've always like been interested in national politics, but I didn't realize like there's so much important civic engagement that happens at the local level that affects our daily lives. And then when I got there, they were like, "Where are your kids?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I forgot to bring them. I'll bring them next year." Because they do a whole thing for the families. They're like, when we have Doctor of the Day, we have a special place for your family to sit. in like the
Huh.
gallery to watch the proceedings.
Oh,
And then they
oh,
took it all
how
the way
sweet.
through and tour like all the beautiful, like I took a picture next to like Harriet Tubman and like her beautiful like figure and then Frederick Douglass. And so I felt like
Cool.
a little sheepish. I was like, kids, sorry.
Well, you didn't know. It's
I
okay.
didn't know. And I was too excited for myself. I forgot to think
Yes.
about them.
Well, I
But
have really enjoyed talking with you again,
thank
and
you,
I'm so glad
Anne.
to hear about all the things that you're doing and all the successes. And I
Thank
hope you
you.
continue to grow,
Thank
but take
you.
a break here and there.
I will try. I will try. I wanted to say to you, I have been following your CRM and
Uh
the
huh.
work you're doing, and I am so excited about what you're doing. I think it's so needed. I didn't know what the word CRM meant until I went to the DPC summit, and I felt so sheepish because I would tell my neighbors, I'm like, yeah, I have a CRM. And they're like, okay, and then? And I'm like, oh, I was trying to be impressive. They're like, everyone has those. I'm like, oh, okay, because I just learned. But that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. We
it's.
don't know. We don't know about it.
Mm-mm.
So you have to, I
No,
mean, the fact that you're putting so much energy and time and expertise out there for our fellow physicians, truly, truly, it's so needed and it's so important. And I pointed people your way just to understand, like, educate and then understand like how it can be helpful to them because I think you can't do this without a system.
no, I appreciate that. Thank you. Because
Yeah.
as sometimes it feels like swimming upstream, you have no idea.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. I mean, there's a couple people out there who are doing what you're doing, but I always give
Yes.
them your name first because I think like it's really important to know that, by the way, the physician who has created this is actually working in the office seeing patients. She's actually
Mm-hmm.
building a funnel herself. She's actually seeing, and it's not that it's less worthy if you're not seeing patients, but it's just that like there's a sense of like, you've got my
Lived it.
perspective.
Yep.
You're living it like actively. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm seeing a patient and the other patient calls and I miss it, how do I make sure that connection happens? I don't lose them, right?
Right,
So I
right.
think that
Especially
CRM
if
is
you're
so
small
important. Of
and
course, micro
starting out.
practice. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
it's
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Yeah.
really proud of learning about CRMs. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
for you to like keep growing in that perspective from that perspective. Like it's very important work.
I appreciate it. Yes,
Yeah.
you have your mission of educating other doctors about
Right?
menopause, and my mission has been to help, especially women, as
Yeah.
they, like you,
Yeah.
trying to get started, trying to get
Right.
out
Right.
of fee for service,
Hmm.
and because it's hard, you know,
It's really
and
hard.
we've both done
And
it, and
we've both done
worth
it.
it.
It's totally worth it. I think the hard part is we don't acknowledge like the fact that we all have a second obligation. Like most of us have partners and children,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a whole other job. That is a full-time job. So we're always
Mm-hmm.
working at times two, right? So
Yep.
it can feel
Yep.
really overwhelming to say, like, how am I going to do this without letting my family take a back burner or somehow not fulfill my obligation as a mother or as a partner? But you can do it. You just need like the system.
Right.
So
You need the
yeah,
systems, and the systems are help. And I think there's a whole DIY culture in
yeah,
DPC,
yeah, I
which,
love that.
yes,
But
but
to scale and to be sustainable, I should say to be sustainable, you need like something
mm-hmm.
with
you need
technology.
you need
Um,
systems,
and
absolutely.
actually, Anne, I actually talked about CRMs with, I had a Washington Post reporter like reach out and ask me, how I'm doing an article about how we use technology to keep older people in their homes. And I'd like to know how you do that. And I was like, actually, the CRM is a big part of it because my patients have a hard time, some of the older ones with mobility, and they really
Mm-hmm.
do need the communication to be on point, and it has to be high quality. They can't have somebody who they can't connect with. So she was like so surprised and she didn't know what a serum was. So I was like, yay, I
It's not just
educated
you.
somebody.
There are a lot of people who don't know what
She's
it
like my
is.
neighbor. She's like, I didn't know I live right next to you here in Chevy Chase. And then at the end of the conversation, she's like, are you taking any patients? Can I come?
Yes.
But I'm just telling you, like, it's like a slow and steady, like, learning process. And I have to say, my Instagram is probably where I'm mostly present. I'm doing as much as I can on there at Dr. Nadia Sirdar. And then Facebook, Dr. Nadia Sirdar is there, plus or minus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then my practice manager is pushing me to do YouTube more. But I'm like, I don't know the algorithm. I don't know how it works. I'm just gonna have to figure it out.
You just put it out there.
Yeah. We'll see what
Figure that
happens.
out later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just think it's important to like remember like a lot of the material that you use for one platform can be like used
Mm-hmm.
again. And there's different audiences for different platforms.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the
I
systems that you have can put it all out there all at
I know.
once.
I know. It's so cool. I love
Yeah.
chatting with you. Are you going to be at the
I
summit in
appreciate it.
July?
Yes. Are you?
Yes. Okay, I haven't bought my ticket yet.
Yay!
I'm right on the cusp, but if you're going to be there, and then there's
Yes.
like two or three other people, Tammy Singh, she'll be there.
Yes. Yes.
So she's
Mm-hmm.
amazing, and she was like a wonderful like mentor slash lovely friend. And then we
Mm-hmm.
have another friend, Maria. We're trying to convince her. She launched at the same time as me. She does Lionheart DPC for kids in Maine.
Oh, cool.
And so she launched and she talked, I think she may have talked to you. Maybe I'll tell her to
I'm not
talk to
sure.
you. I will ask her to reach out to you. But she's lovely and she's launched a wonderful practice. And she's saying she's having a hard time deciding whether she wants to leave or not. But I'm like, please just go for 2 days.
Yes.
I learn
Yes.
a
Just
lot.
it's incredible. It's the learning, it's
Yeah.
the camaraderie, that support system. It's fantastic.
It's so
I think
great.
now I just go to see my friends.
I know that's what I'm going to come for. I mean, like literally, like the sessions are really helpful, but I learn
Yes, they
even
are.
more in the conversations between, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's
Yep.
actually been really fun.
Well,
Well,
thanks
thank you for your
again for coming
time. I
on. I
appreciate
really
it.
appreciate it.
Thank
And so
you.
you were saying your Instagram, Dr. Nadia
At
Sirdar?
Dr. Nadia Sirdar, so DrNadiaSirdar at Dr. Nadia
Mhm.
Sirdar. And then same for Facebook. And I guess I'm on YouTube also. And my practice name is Bethesda Modern Primary Care. But I did get lucky and have this really easy website, BethesdaDoctor.com.
That's amazing.
I
Good
love
for you.
that. I know. When I was at the farmer's market, they're like, how did you get that? I'm just tried.
no one else no one else asked for it before you. That's great. You got it. You got it.
So,
Well, we'll
yeah.
put all of your information in the show notes, and
Okay.
then I look forward to seeing you this summer at the
Thank
summit.
you. I can't wait to see you there. I'll give you a big hug.
You too. Yes.
All
Well, thank you
right.
so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you again to Dr. Nadia Sirdar for sharing with us her real experiences, how she shows up for her patients and for her community, and also for sharing with us how she did it. So if you're thinking about the farmers market idea or fireside chat model and wondering if it could work for you in your town, it can. Nadia shared that consistency and presence really works. Show up where your patients are already and let the trust build. Before you go, I have a quick ask. I want to know if the podcast is actually useful for you, my DPC Life listeners. There's a link to a short form in the show notes. It's very short, only takes 2 minutes, asking you what are you stuck on in your DPC practice, what in the podcast has helped you most, and what do you want to hear more about? Everyone who fills it out will get a free brandable DPC presentation on Canva, slides that you can use for a community talk, employer group, the book clubs, the fireside chats, all of it. You can change the wording to fit your practice, but the basics of DPC are already in the talk. You can change the colors, you can change your logo. So it is ready to go. Everyone who helps me out by filling out the quick survey about the podcast will get that slide deck. Again, the link is in the show notes. And if you want to be notified when the DPC Life community opens, there's a checkbox for that too. If this episode was helpful, tag us or Nadia with your biggest takeaway. And I'll see you next week for the next episode.
Thank you for listening to DPC Life. If today's conversation inspired you, hit follow, leave a review, and share it with a friend who's ready for change. Remember, wherever you are in the journey, your DPC family has your back. Until next time, keep building a practice and a life that truly fits you.